I was being productive, I swear. I was being productive, I swear. Being productive, I swear. Let's be honest, we do things all the time that we think is actually being productive when realistically we're just procrastinating. This video I just want to talk about how that procrastination can actually be a form of productivity in and of itself. But let me guess, you clicked on this video because recently you haven't really been feeling inspired. You want to relieve this friction and find a different way to reduce that friction to get started. But what if I told you that recently I've found a more easy way to be inspired? Something that doesn't create any friction. It's something so simple, you can even do it while you're relaxing. Well, buckle in, let's talk about it. Sometimes when you're in a creative field, it's easy to feel like everything is on a schedule. You need to be creative at certain times, you need to be inspired at the right times, and you need to pump out video after video, masterpiece after the masterpiece, just creating stuff all the time on these tight turnarounds that can make you feel like you're very pressured. It's actually ironic because creativity doesn't work that way. It works on spontaneity, being able to think of things in the moment when your brain isn't really thinking about it. It's kind of rendering in the background. That's when you come to your best ideas, or at least that's how it is for me. So we can see how there will be a lot of friction and issues that pop up when we try to sit down and narrow our focus to think of these ideas because we really have to in that moment. And rarely has that ever worked for me. In the past, I've found that doing something other than my actual work has helped me to be inspired, but it still created some friction. If I were to go for a walk, or I went to the gym, or simply just watched a TV show or laid on my bed to relax a little bit, I sometimes found some inspiration, absolutely, but this wasn't really a safe way to do this consistently. I was still finding that I had too much on my mind for me to really narrow down on those inspirational ideas or that true creativity. The whole idea of this video dawned on me a couple of weeks back when I was supposed to have this really productive week, get a lot of stuff done, and I like to batch create YouTube videos so that I don't have to worry about it for a few weeks and I can think of my next ideas as they come. But this particular week, I was having a very busy week at work, but I was also finding myself constantly on Netflix, on Instagram, on YouTube, just watching and consuming content rather than creating it. As the days went by, I became more and more frustrated with myself. After the first day, I was a little discouraged, but it wasn't too bad. I was like, okay, I'll do it tomorrow. The second day, on the Tuesday, I started doing it again and just really wasn't in the mood, even though I probably should have pushed myself. I didn't, and was really upset by Wednesday and Thursday, and when Friday hit, I had just kind of lost hope for my productivity that week, and it felt like shit, if I'm completely honest. That really got me thinking, though, what if productivity wasn't really only the things that we do to feel like we're doing busy work? What if it goes a little bit deeper than that, and inspiration isn't just from doing those hard things or doing those things you don't like necessarily? I noticed that getting angry at myself wasn't doing anything to move me forward. I wondered how I could use it for good. But then I took a step back. What exactly was I doing when I was procrastinating? What was I going to? What kind of content, what kind of things was I watching or absorbing when I was procrastinating? And weirdly enough, I found that I was consuming content related to what I was interested in. First of all, one big takeaway was that I watched cinematic films or short films on YouTube and on TikTok and on Instagram, and I watched movies that were just beautifully produced, had really nice scenes, even just shows that were well produced, nice color grading. Another thing I found pretty fascinating is without my knowledge, I found myself taking away editing techniques, different fonts, different colors, different thumbnail ideas. All of these things were coming together for my videos, came from these bouts of so-called procrastination that I was so upset about. So really, I was getting more inspiration and more creativity from procrastinating, and that was really the turning point in all of this. What seemed like guilty pleasures actually turned out to be awesome sources of inspiration. And moving forward, it's a very exciting idea to know that I can relax, I can take time to myself, I can just go and do something I enjoy, and knowing that I can even get inspiration from that or have some new way of thinking about it. And the same thing goes for new experiences. When you get out of your comfort zone, when you try something new, all of these things create new pathways in our brains that allow us to think a little differently, to approach a problem from a different direction. Anything like that can be revolutionary for your creative endeavor and for inspiration. So now let's come back to something we talked about before: reducing friction. This is the biggest component that I love about this idea. You don't feel friction when you lay on the couch or when you grab your phone and go on Instagram. And that's kind of the beauty of this. You don't have to feel guilty about relaxing, and there's no friction in it, so you're bound to do it more often. And that means more creativity, more inspiration, and you just have more ideas to put forth after you do those bouts of relaxation now that are actually productive. Oddly enough, sometimes when I was watching this content or absorbing these movies and videos, I would find that I would see an idea or hear about something. I would pause that whatever I was doing, even though I was relaxing, and I would go sit at my computer and implement it somehow. I remember watching this movie and seeing this really cool transition where two frames kind of merge and then turn into another scene, and I really loved that idea. So I just sat down on my computer and started messing around with two clips and trying to create it. And then I kind of just looked up and I was like, wow, like this just inspired me, and I loved how it looked, and it made me want to create something cool too. So it's definitely interesting that something so simple and so relaxing can lead us to be so productive. Who knew that the key to productivity was really in our enjoyment, our relaxation, and periods where we're just not aiming to be productive at all? I can gain something positive from it, and it's not all just lost time as I used to think it was. Anyway, I hope this helped you. Go do some procrastinating, if you will, and hopefully it leads to some inspiration.